Well, hello there, my crafty friends. Christy here. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. So I sent out an email to everybody who's on my email list and asked them to send me in all of their silhouette questions so that I can answer them. And that's what we're going to do today. So I've got 3 questions that we're going to answer today. So let's go ahead and just jump right on in, shall we? Okay, so I got my little cheat sheet here. So our first question comes from Victoria. She asks, she understands that every time she uses Silhouette, it takes up space on her PC. And is there a way to clean the cache to free up space on the PC? Well, there is a way to do that. And let me go ahead and show that to you. We're going to come down to the little start menu, and then in the top here, we're going to type in disk cleanup. On the right side here is this disk cleanup app. We're going to go ahead and open that. The C drive is your standard, like that's your Windows drive that's on your computer. We're going to hit OK. That's the one I want to clean up. And then the parts on here that you want to clean up, any of your downloaded program files that like you've already downloaded and you don't need anymore, you want to get rid of all of your temporary internet files. And you can clean out your recycling bin, clean out any of your temporary files that are here as well. And that should help free up. And then when you've got what you want there, it gives you some more information here. You can go ahead and do the clean up your system files, and then you can just hit OK, and it'll go ahead and do that. It's not a bad idea to do that every so often. And then that'll clean up room on your disk. What that's going to do is make your computer run a little bit faster, especially just staying on top of those temporary internet files, and then the temporary cache files. That's like your short-term memory. Basically, if you think about your brain, that's like your short-term memory. So it stores things there that's why it's temporary. It's your short-term until things are like further along. I don't know. It's very technical, but basically that's like your short-term memory. You can clean all that up. That'll open up some space in your computer so it runs a little bit faster. If you need more in-depth information, go to the Google Net and ask Google to walk you through how to clean up to make your computer run faster. You can also, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe that you can change a setting, or maybe it automatically does it. So anytime you download a newer version of Silhouette Studio, it will automatically delete the older version. So you should only have one version on there unless you're like beta testing, then you can have multiple versions, but that's a choice that you would make. So I think it automatically does. You'd have to do some digging into that a little bit more to find out for sure. Okay, so that was question number 1. Little technical information there. Now let's get into something a little more fun about our Silhouette machine, shall we? So Wendy asks, how do you cut an image apart to make it a layered cardstock design like a shadow box design? She's always amazed at how they come together and make such nice 3D pictures. Well, Wendy, I can't speak for how other people design their shadow box type things, but I can kind of tell you the way that it works in my brain. Prefacing with the fact that I don't create shadow box files. I do more of card designs, but I think the way I go about it is probably the same premise if I was going to create a shadow box. basically I have to go kind of from big picture down to the small, what am I creating right here? So big picture wise, I have to think up in my head, you know, what all I want in my scene. And then you have to decide how you're going to cut that up and layer it together. Now, using if you wanted to bring in a picture, like a PNG file, and cut that up, you would want to cut by color and sort that out. And to cut by color a little bit easier, you would want designer's edition or higher, because then you can do that multiple cut by color. And I will link a video below on how to walk you through that more complex image trace situation. But let me show you kind of how my thought process works when I want to layer a design. And I do this a lot when I do even like my box cards, when I layer pieces together. I have this little guy sitting here. So this is my, what is he? He's a nutcracker. Oh goodness. And so when I did this design, I had to think about how I was going to layer all the pieces of his body, and also then just like cut this out of the green layer. So I'm not going to go over anything super complicated. Let's just try to make a layered Christmas tree. Okay. So I'm in business edition, so I've got some more flexi shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and just start by grabbing this Christmas tree flexi shape. Once you have it how you want it, you can change how many sides are on there. I like the 6 side. That looks good. You can make it more narrow, however you want to do it. And then you're just going to convert that to path when you're done. I've got that looking how I want it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give that a color. And I personally just like to get rid of that outline color. I don't need it. Okay. There's my first layer, and that's just my Christmas tree. So now I want to put little ornaments on there. So for the ornaments, I'm going to come over and grab my ellipse tool. And if you hold down your shift key, you can make perfect little circles. And I'm going to do a purple. Again, I'm going to get rid of that outline color. And I'm going to make a couple of copies. I'm going to alt click and drag. I'm going to make this one blue. Alt click and drag to make my copy. And then let's do pink. Okay, so there's the colors that I want. Now I'm just going to go around and place them on my tree. And actually, Control Z, Control Z. While I have them over here, I'm just going to make a bunch of copies of them. Make my life a lot easier. So I'm going to select all of these, and then I'm going to hold down Control and then the right arrow key, and I'm just going to duplicate a bunch of copies of all of those. And then now I can come and just place them around on my Christmas tree where I want them, okay? And then this is just the basics of getting everything kind of how you want it, where you want them, to just make these show off how you want it to look. So I know this is a little bit tedious to watch me pull all these little pieces around, but it is what it is. Okay, let's put one more over here. All right, good enough. So now, oh, and then let's draw out, I'm going to do this rounded rectangle to draw the stem. I like that shape. I'm going to convert that to a path. Now I can make that brown. That's a good brown. We'll get rid of the outline. And then if I kind of tuck that up, I can send it right up here, send to the back. Now it's tucked up behind that and that looks good. Okay, so now the hard part is the layers. How we're gonna make this. So now really this is gonna be a 5-layer design because we're gonna have the brown layer, we're gonna have the green layer of the tree, and then we'll have our 3 different colors for our pieces there. So now what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna grab everything, I'm gonna duplicate it, Control and to the right, and I'm gonna do that a couple times. So there's my 3 colors for all of my pieces, and then let's do one more, Control to the left. So this should be all my layers. So this layer right here, I'm gonna do just brown. So I'm gonna grab everything here, I'm gonna weld it together. And then I'm gonna change that color to brown. There's my brown layer, so that'll show my bottom stem. This layer here, we just need the green. So I'm actually just gonna come in and delete that brown piece. Everything here is gonna be green. But this is where things get kind of tricky. While that's all going to be green, we need to let all of these holes show through. So now what I'm going to do is come in and I'm going to hold down my shift key while I select each one of these holes. If you don't want to do that, you can select everything, hold down your shift key, deselect that Christmas tree. I'm still holding that shift key. I'm going to grab this last little piece. So now I have all of those pieces there. I'm going to group them together. So I'm going to right click, group. Now I'm going to take that group and now I'm going to select my tree that's behind it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit subtract. And that should subtract the pieces, the little circles that are on the front from the piece that's in the back. So now my Christmas tree, which is the green layer, has holes in it. So now if I take this piece and we're going to take this brown one and send it to the back. So now you can see that we have our green piece is going to show those colors through. Now all I have to do is decide what layers I want to do in which order. So if this one I want to have all of my purple layers, so these ones we can also just get rid of those brown stems. So now if this one I want to just leave all of my purple ones, I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to leave the purple ones there. And then what's left, I'm going to do Control G. And then now, Control Z to undo. I need to deselect that tree. There we go. So now I can group those together. Control G to group together all of those other colors. And now what I'm going to do is take those and then I'm going to take my green Christmas tree, hold down shift with that group, and again I'm going to hit subtract. So now that's going to leave all of those other pieces as holes. And now I'm going to change that green Christmas tree to my purple color. So now you can see how, well, when you get them in the right order, we'll send this one backwards. So now you can see how that green is going to show that purple through. And now with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to leave we're going to get rid of the purples. And then I'm just going to get rid of all these because we don't need them there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make this the blue layer. So we're going to just select, because now there's just a few, we're just going to select these purple ones or the pink ones. We're going to group those together, Control G, and we're going to subtract those from our green background. And then now we can turn our green background into that pinkish color. And again, we can take this one and send it to the back. Oh, and we did it backwards. Nope. See how that now the pink ones are showing up? And then for our last tree here, we can again get rid of all of our purple, and now we can get rid of all of our pink. This one's going to be blue. And actually, because it's going to be blue, all we have to do is take this piece and we're just going to turn it to our blue color. And then I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I send that to the back. You put that one at the very back. So grab all of those, and then I'm just going to make sure that they are aligned to the top and that they are aligned to the middle. Oop, come on, and the center. So now we can go ahead and, whoops, Control Z, undo that move. And then I can grab all of these layers and move them onto my brown tree. But you'll see that brown we just need to send to the back again. And now we have our Christmas tree with all of the spots going through. And then if you pull it apart, you'll see you've got your different layers with different holes in it to show the color from behind. So that's how you create your layered design, and then there's your brown, that's your very back layer. So that's how you would create one element of a multi-layered design, and then you just have to continue going through that through your entire scene, and that's how you make them. It's like, to me, they're very complex. It takes me a long time to make something like that because you really have to think through what's showing up. But that's how you would do it. Okay, so let's go to our last question. Dawn asks, I would love to see a detailed tutorial on what settings to use and general how-to for using the foil quill. Well, Dawn, let's talk about a couple things here. I've got my foil quill. If you're using an older machine like a Cameo 3 or older, you're going to use the A adapter, and that just goes right on your foil quill. You swirl that on there, and then this will go into carriage 1. You'll use a sketch setting, and then you'll plug it into your power source. Now, if you're using a Cameo 4 or a Cameo 5, there's two different ways that you can do that. You've got this little extra piece that came with the Cameo 4. If you have the Cameo 5, you can buy these separately. Then what you're going to do, again with the same A adapter, you would snap it into this piece because that adapter that's there is not meant for the newer shape of the auto blades. And then you can snap this just like this into carriage 1. And again, you're going to call this a sketch. The other way to do that is instead of using adapter A, you would put on adapter D straight onto your quill, and then this ridge here slides all the way into your Cameo 4, Cameo 5, and sits all the way down in there. Again, carriage 1, still a sketch. The reason you're using it as a sketch is because your machine is not calibrated to recognize any third-party devices. So you have to kind of just use the settings are there. So I have my Silhouetter's Guide to Heat Foiling book, and I'll link that below. That goes real in-depth into the different settings, because your settings are going to change depending on the material type you're using. So this ebook goes a lot deeper into the different settings and how to make those adjustments based on what you're using and what material you're using. So I hope that answers your question about that. Well, I thought this was pretty fun. I love hearing your questions. I hope you like this too. If you like this kind of Q&A session, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let me know. Put down in the comments that you like these kind of things. And if we like them, we'll keep doing them. So that's all I have for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you later.